Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. We're changing lives one woman at a time. In fact, we're changing the planet one woman at a time. I am your host, Cynthia James, and I get the amazing opportunity to introduce you to women that have awakened in various forms and are changing the world in extraordinary ways. So my guest today is Constance Carlson Ning. She's a change maker. She's committed to women. She's an activist. She's been a social worker. She's been in private practice, marriage and family therapy. She's been the co-founder of the Friendship Bridge, where they were creating women's microcredit plus non-formal education organizations in Vietnam. The co-founder of Starfish, One by One, in Guatemala, which was a 6-year program for selected rural Mayan adolescent girls with scholarships, mentorships, and leading training. Co-founder of, and I hope I'm saying this right, Quetzal?
Pizza.
University Scholarship Program, also in Guatemala. And she's the co-founder of Evergreen Alliance for Sustainability. Welcome, Can I call you Connie?
Sure, please do.
Perfect. So I'm so grateful that you're here. And I want to know a little bit about where you came from, because I'm sure it's been a journey to what you're doing today. But, women think that sometimes, we wake up and we're brilliant and we've come and we're in a life-changing modes, but we've evolved. And so what's been your evolution?
Well, gosh, I guess from when I was a little girl, I never quite understood gender inequity. It never made sense to me. And I was always drawn towards social justice causes, but I wasn't particularly adept at it. In fact, I was pretty awful, I think but little by little, I understood the call to do something to make the world a little bit better. I didn't know where that was going until we first landed in Vietnam. My husband is a Vietnam vet. He was a physician during his time in Vietnam. And he spent that time going to orphanages and setting up medical clinics, et cetera. And he always wanted to go back and see what had happened to those. So in '88, we did go back. The situation there was so abysmal. There was no soap for doctors to wash their hands. So women died postpartum. Women were dying for just with no pain meds, with no antibiotics. It was a really grim scene. There were rats in the nurseries, and it just broke my heart. So for one or another reason, I was committed. It wasn't a choice to come back and give them something. And I did come back a few months later with $5,000 I'd raised for antibiotics and pain meds. And I talked an unsuspecting friend to come with me. And so that was the beginning. Actually, I had no idea where that was going, but I knew that I had to do something. That was just too awful. And I've had this idea, I don't remember when, but for decades, that we're just one human family. That's not you're Vietnamese and I'm an American, or that's never made sense to me. So I brought it back, and we just kept going. We ended up shipping 140 tons to Vietnam, which actually ended up being kind of boring because that's just filling a black hole. What could we do to help them help themselves? And that's where I hit on the idea originated by Muhammad Yunus of small loans for poor women so they could have their own businesses. And that's where Friendship Bridge started.
Well, I love that. But the thing that inspires me about what you said is like, it was something that touched your heart and you didn't exactly know what to do, but you wanted to do something because you saw the suffering, and that suffering had an impact on you because we are a family. We are interconnected.
Yes.
And so did you know how to create microloans or did you have to learn? Was it a learning process?
Oh God, no, I didn't know anything. So it was a steep learning curve, and we made a lot of mistakes, and you learn a lot from your mistakes. No, the key to that success was being trained by my co-founder went to train with Muhammad Yunus, and when she came back and we put our and I went and knocked on doors all over Vietnam with other nonprofits, many of them Americans. It was, how do you do this? How do you do this microcredit stuff? And they were very generous with their knowledge, their information. So we put our heads together and off we went. And it's a very simple concept, and it worked really well in Vietnam. We ultimately had to leave that country because a communist country has so many rules and regs. You end up, it just becomes untenable. So that's when we moved to Guatemala, where that organization is now. And I think they have about 23,000 borrowers now, women borrowers.
Oh, that's incredible. And they all have small businesses.
They all have small businesses. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's incredible. So, one of my passions is women and bringing our voices to the planet,
Mm-hmm.
because I really feel like this is a time for the feminine. This is a time for the emergence of the feminine voice. And so I want to talk about, the work that you've done in Guatemala, because it's had 2 or 3 levels, right?
Yes,
So
that's right. That was my first iteration of it, but it went on from there.
yeah, so now, having scholarships and mentorships and leadership training, so how did you pull that together, and how do these young women get accepted into your program?
Okay, well, how did I pull it? The first thought I had, Cynthia, around that, well, the first thought I had was, this is wonderful, helping women have small businesses and growing their businesses and having financial independence, which is really a powerful thing for a woman. It's very empowering. But it wasn't a big enough change for me. I could see that if we could take a Mayan, because I work with a rural Mayan population, if we could take a girl out of 6th grade and through junior high and high school, that's 6 years, and change her internal landscape, what she thought about herself and what she thought she could do, what could she do? How far could she go? So that's when my background is psychology, so I had the idea, if we had this mentorship program every week for a group of like 10 or 12 girls, and each mentor had that number of girls, and the mentor herself was an indigenous woman who was at a college level, very rare, 1% in Guatemala. What could we do? So we started with a program that included vocal empowerment, gender equity, human rights, reproductive rights, financial literacy, et cetera, et cetera. And as the program evolved, it became more sophisticated every year. But it's actually brainwashing. Let's just tell the truth. And but it did change how a girl felt about herself and what she could give and how she could be a change agent for her own country and people. And so then when she graduated, it's like, wow, I want to keep going. I want to be a nurse or an engineer or a lawyer. And these are girls who come from parents who are basically illiterate. So it's a very big evolution from illiterate parents to being a college graduate. And but that's what they're doing, and it's very exciting. I mean, the joy is mine to watch this unfold and happen. It's a partnership. It's not a giveaway. We're partners. I can raise money here and go down and witness this incredible evolution and miraculous change. But they have to do the work of studying and often overstudying their colleagues, because the high schools they come from are terrible. Now, we have the junior high school program has been taken over by actually our son, and he's built an award-winning school for junior high school girls. And then your second question is, how do you get into the program? Well, when I first started, not knowing anything, like, oh, you're poor, you're a girl. Well, okay, here you go. But but then again, you learn so much from your mistakes. If parents are going to pull their girl out after she's been in 3 years because there's a lot of pressure from the community, this is not what girls do. Girls are born to make babies and tortillas, and this is our culture. And there's a lot of pushback on a girl who wants to be different. So now the interview takes about 6 months. to make sure mother's on board, the father's on board, the girl is on board. It's a very extensive program. And I'm not in charge of that anymore. Somebody way smarter than me is doing that. So anyhow, we learned a lot, and but that's the basically, I hope I answered your question.
Well, you did. And, well, and it's interesting to me because I want to address a couple things you said. One was you said it's brainwashing. I don't think so. I think what it is, it's changing the consciousness of the mind.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
self-confidence and self-esteem can come
Yes.
in.
You're right.
Because every time somebody gets lifted up, then they get to bring others with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're so right, Cynthia. And they do. They want their siblings to be educated. They want their cousins. And the aunts and the mothers are thinking, wow, we could, that birth control stuff, that sounds interesting. So lots can happen if there's one major change agent in that family.
Right. Well, and I love it. And I love that, a lot of times that we start something and we take it to a point, and then to have the wisdom to know, oh, I need someone else to take it to the next level.
Yes, that's right.
To support more people. Right.
Exactly true. And with someone younger with more energy than I happen to have right at this moment. But I'm doing the college girls now, and that's a great joy. And I don't have to do much. They're already well on their way and very determined and persevering and confident.
I love it, because Oprah kind of did the same thing in Africa.
Right.
It's beautiful. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is your commitment to sustainability. I know you live in Colorado, and I know you live in Evergreen, but about recycling and the environment, and there's all kinds of controversy about what's going on with climate change or not, but we know that we impact what is happening here.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your passion for sustainability.
Well, I guess the passion starts with the love of this beautiful earth, this beautiful Mother Earth, and all the beauty and diversity and exquisite, amazing things we have on this beautiful planet. So I've always been drawn to that. I've always loved it. I've always felt nurtured by our Mother, the Earth. So as I've seen the destruction, it's heartbreaking. And climate change, I feel, is very real. So I'm torn between doing my work in Guatemala and helping the environment. It's a tough. We're in a really perilous place right now. The school down there just won an award for their organic garden, and we're teaching organic gardening to all the students. But on a bigger plane, I guess voting is important to me. Voting in the environmentalists, voting in people who care about and are not exploiting. For it's always to me a struggle between people who value money and power over people who are caring and loving and want to see not just humans but all sentient beings as part of the family, and all beings, whether it's a tree or a mushroom, an important endangered plant. It all matters. We're all one, and we're all not separate from one another, and that there is that illusion, but it's not true. And we're just interdependent in deeply and important ways. But nobody in Washington is calling me for my opinion.
But hey, but you know what? Your voice matters, and your voice matters on this podcast, and the voice matters in your community, and your voice matters in Guatemala. So I want to tell people how to find you. What's your website? How do people get more information about you?
Okay, the college girls website, and I'm on that website, of course, is Quetzal, and I'll spell that Quetzal, universityfund.org.
Beautiful. So I ask, the last question I ask every guest is the same question. What is the one thing you want women to know?
I want everyone to know that I'm not anything special, and the way we're all special. Anybody can get up and do something to help another person or a group of people or the environment or whatever. Whatever you care about, go do it. And you can make a difference, and your life will sing for having done so.
Oh, Connie, thank you so much. And thank you for being my guest. You inspire me. I think what you have done and what you continue to do is change making on this planet. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Cynthia. It's been a joy.
So ladies, we put up new podcasts all the time. Come back, hear the women's voices, see what they're doing, see what they've overcome, see what they've created, because they are just models for you to show you that you are in a field of infinite possibilities. I'm grateful for you. I love you, and we'll see you soon.